Hello to what is going to be another Shadowverse video. So today we are checking out a Ambush SwordCraft deck that can be named. Ambush Sword has gone through some pretty heavy changes since the last time I played it, while keeping of its main core cards, you know, your standard Quick Blader, which in this case I'm using Katana Unleashed, same difference. Leod, the Crescent Blade, of course, being your key card, and then focusing mostly on spells to really round things out, along with a couple of nice amulets that do a pretty nice job of boosting or summoning Leod overall. So this deck, from what I can see automatically, does rely heavily on Leod and the ambush mechanic. If you fail to get your Leods off, you are pretty much lost the game. Although, in saying that, this deck isn't half bad and does an alright job for how cheap it is, because it's one of the few decks around that is only running one legendary, similar to RuneCraft, where you only really need one to make the deck complete. And we are running Everlasting Castle for that summon on Leod, or potentially Katana Unsheathed, whichever one we want to actually go for at the time. It both works really well for that, although any time after that it's a bit lousy, until you get kind of to the real late game, but you're hoping this deck is well and truly over by then, because the Dual Blade Fury and the Ivory Sword Dance are your two big key cards, other than Leod, and they're really important to get early, so we are going to get right into this and check it out. First up, we are going to be playing against Portalcraft. Float Portal is definitely an interesting craft. Some people have asked that I do a video on Float Portal. I definitely have plans to do it. It's just that I am lacking some of the really key cards, and I just don't have the vials handy to do that or create them. So that's probably going to be on the back burner for a little while, similar with Forest decks at the moment. I'm really just kind of building what I can and working my way up and gaining some more resources for the mini expansion and the next expansion, so that I'm not behind by the time that comes out. Even though we are only obviously at the start of this expansion, if you don't plan enough in advance for a long time play, you kind of fall off, and that can be really hard to recover. So we started off good. We go for the King's Welcome, which does obviously pull us Leod. We got multiple ways to get Leod, so I wasn't too worried about getting the Katana on board early. We got the Dual Blade Fury and the Ivory Sword Dance in our reasonably opening hand. Unfortunately, double Dual Blade Fury is a little lousy, but nah, you take what you can get at this point. And we're getting a nice early start, so it might have been too early to put Leod down, but by the looks of it, this Portalcraft deck isn't going to be too much of a threat as far as dealing with him, so I'm not too worried about just leaving that there. We get the Strategic Assembly, which is good. Getting that extra buff is always nice. And Displace Bot isn't really a threat to us yet, especially since we just got Ivory Sword Dance. And with that, we're going to have at least 14 damage next turn. Well, 15 if we count the Veiled Reckoning. So we actually can go for that now. Meaning we're only actually just short of getting lethal then. We only would have needed to draw a 1-drop card, would have been good, but it was enough to make them concede. So this video will probably be on the shorter side. Our second match is against RuneCraft, and this deck likes to go real early and finish off real quick, as that is its key element. If you're interested in playing SwordCraft, I just very recommend giving Ambush a go. It probably isn't the highest possible tiered deck, but it does a good job. Also, it's a really nice animated card back. I'm pretty sure that Japan gets such amazing animated card backs. I wish we'd get some more that weren't just the Master Rank ones that we could get. So we start off with Well of Destiny. It's a pretty decent card. Start of your turn, give +1/+1 or random. Since we've only got so many followers, getting the random is okay. We don't actually have any other good plays now, and Everlasting Castle, unfortunately, was actually pretty useless. I did play it slightly by mistake. I should have probably held on to it and waited, since it was just literally useless at this point in the game and wasn't going to serve any purpose. At least Breakneck Draw, as I like to call it, pot agreed with damage. That's a great card. Being able to get a draw 2 while also dealing with something is amazing, especially at only 4 value. We do have King's Welcome now, which is going to guarantee that we can get Leod, so we can probably go King's Welcome, Leod, and Well of Destiny, giving us a fairly well-boosted Leod for the turn after. Since we are going up against Natura Rune, we do have to be careful of its burn damage, which does have a pretty insane OTK that I haven't actually managed to get to work myself, but I have seen at least a couple of times now. I definitely plan on doing another video on Natura Rune when I fully adapt and learn exactly what the right play is with it, because it's a reasonably intricate deck in the sense that you definitely need to know what you're aiming for to pull it off. So we got a 5/5, the Ivory Sword Dance is going to clear the board, we get to 7, we can easily go for the Katana, which is great for the extra damage. It's a pity we couldn't have went for the Assassin if we were 1 point further. No point floating points though when we're so close to having lethal now since we got Dual Blade Furies in our hand. Viridian Magna, a little bit of a problem as with Evo it does get ward, so we do have to deal with that. Fortunately, Ivory Sword Dance again is a great way to do so. If I had have held on to my Evo, I still probably would have been screwed over, so Ivory is still the best play. And we can actually go for Assassin this time, so dealing 11 damage isn't actually a worry for us, and if they do go for another ward, we can probably Dual Blade Fury it, so we're not in any kind of trouble here, which worked out pretty well. So this was definitely a fun deck. I played another sword deck quite a bit, and I didn't enjoy it anywhere near as much as I did this one. It definitely has a more defined strategy, although if the Leods get killed off, it's very hard to recover, so you don't want to end up against any deck that can really do that. And Rune can sometimes be a tough matchup if you don't have a decent early Leod that can then clear out those couple of boards, as anytime you're going into the mid game with Rune, they're getting massive spell boost typically, or they're getting their Natura OTK off, and then you're in massive amount of trouble, so there's not much you can really do against it. So if you guys did enjoy this video and want to check this deck out, there will be a link in the description below for the deck. You can also hit the like button and subscribe while you're down there. Until next time guys, see ya.